unshackled.
But maybe do the video that way, right?
Yeah.
Ready, you gotta follow along. Rita.
Okay, ready?
The wave.
Starting the wave.
You gotta bring it back.
No, bring it back.
All right, that wasn't flowing too well. Welcome back to Mita Unshackled, where we meet some of the thought leaders, some of the important individuals, some of the entrepreneurs, some of the businessmen and women of the American and global cannabis space. And it's, again, Dimitri Downing here. I keep forgetting to introduce myself. With co-host
Rita Valenzuela.
And Destiny Blanco.
And we are at the tail end of MJ Unpacked here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's things are closing up here, but we wanted to squeeze in a couple more cool members of the cannabis industry that we've met. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Abby, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
How's the show been for you? How's MJ Unpacked been?
Abby?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. Just the fact that I'm sitting right next here to Michael after the Clio Awards happened last night. I mean, this entire event has been a dream come true. And just like you said earlier, it's a bunch of thought leaders and
right.
creative geniuses that are, you know, really just pitching each other and talking about, you know, what's happening in the space. And it's just so inspiring.
Yeah, I agree. We, you know, we're about celebrating creative work. In cannabis, it's focused on marketing, you know, design, and I think the work is on par with creative work that's happening in any other industry. It was such an honor to be able to recognize and show some of that work last night. And for me, it's like the work that people at Abby do, it's like we need to amplify that more. And in a small way, we're helping to normalize the marketing and the creative work people are doing in this space. So I was really happy with the show last night. We had some remarkable winners. You know, and for us too, we saw entries this year from Germany, from Israel, from Croatia. You know, we've seen entries from Mexico, U.S. and Canada, of course, and that is encouraging to me to see how cannabis now, the plant, is taking root in a lot of places outside of even where we live.
And before we get deeper into the Clio Awards and what they are and where they're from and how it works and stuff, let's, Abby, what are you and what groups are you involved in?
Oh, so somebody poetically put that I was like the Swiss Army knife of the cannabis industry yesterday, and I was like,
that's the business card to have.
Yeah, and
yeah, you're a fixer.
And it's funny because I used to always tell people I originally started in the space. I mean, I've been supporting cannabis for many, many years since I was very young myself. But I got into it professionally back in 2017, 2018 when Nevada started going, you know, adult use. And I started out as a founding publisher for Cincy Media. I've worked for, you know,
like Cincy.
Yeah, and I've worked for, you know, several other companies and organizations, just consulting. Most recently, I was with Champs Trade Shows. And
Champs, very cool.
And I'm not with them anymore, but I came back into the space. It's funny, I'm also just recently launched my own YouTube channel. I am also an astrologer, and I do tarot card and birth charts for people. And I decided that I really wanted to reach out and start working with people in the cannabis space because, you know, we all are looking for enlightenment and answers and, you know, going through all the same, you know, same things together. And so I launched as the Can Astrologer about 22 days ago and already have like 55,000 impressions and
that's amazing.
That is amazing.
2.2 unique viewers, and so it's growing very fast, and it's just, you know, telling me that A, people want to learn and know more about cannabis, and B, people want to know more about spirituality, and I'm just bringing it all together.
Putting those two worlds and colliding them together.
And supporting our cannabis space. You know, in my videos, I like to do product placement and kind of do shout outs of the companies and the people that I work with and that I support personally and the education behind it. And I think it's all very important. So.
And you know, that's great. That's a great way to start. You got some experience, a couple good organizations, Cincy, Champs. You learned about the cannabis industry. You worked a little bit. You found your own niche. Now you're doing your own thing, and you're creating your own vision. Yeah. And that's a fantastic journey into the cannabis industry.
Thank you.
And we'll get a little bit more into exactly what you're doing and exactly what's happening next. But let's swing back to the Clio Awards. I'm going to go back and forth here.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't mind.
Not at all.
I'm testing my intellectual capabilities, see if I can handle two conversations at once. I'm an ex-prosecutor. So 12 years, I did like jury trials and stuff. This is sort of like a jury trial kind of experience for me because you have to constantly interview people, trying to understand what the 12 jurors are thinking or 6 jurors, and that kind of stuff. So it's like practice.
But the energy is much better. I feel it.
Oh my God!
Right.
If you guys want to know about my past, we can talk about past. But I promise you, it's in the
You got some
past.
stories.
Oh, hey, what's nice?
We just missed what happened behind us.
There's a track, it looks like it.
So
big check.
Deals are happening.
The gong is the flower of life back there. Is when deals happen, and it's been our pleasure to have them interrupt us during our podcast.
I heard foosball.
It celebrates people. Hold on a second here.
It has been an honor and a privilege for our entire team to be of service to you. Thank you for participating.
Oh, our
Hey.
friend George. All right, George.
5,000. Okay.
And that, folks,
Excellent.
closes up MJ Unpacked.
Yeah, but we'll keep going. We'll
Yeah.
get some more people in here and stuff. We can do
Squeeze them in.
shows while the places are being packed up. But
we're,
okay.
we're shutting this place down.
Yeah, we're closing the place down. We're like ESPN Game Day kind of thing.
We are last call.
Okay, we're Cannabis Game Day. That's what we are over here.
Unshackled.
The Clio Awards. We have a beautiful, heavy $150,000 gold Clio Award.
I feel like we all should touch this in the middle.
Yes, let's play. Yoda deserves a Clio Award. Let's put it over here.
Let's give it a Yoda.
Look, they're getting a little crazy
Yeah,
back
take
there.
The award. Everyone
I love it.
Where did the Clio Awards originate? How did the whole thing come about? Tell us, for those of us who know very little about the Clio Awards, the big Clio
Yeah.
Awards, and I don't.
Yeah,
so.
no. Well, we started in 1959. The Clios have historically been about amplifying amazing advertising.
1959.
Yeah, very old program. Focused on the best commercials. And I think back in probably the 70s and 80s, the Clios were on TV. Kelsey Grammer hosted one year. It was, here are the best commercials of the year. Who was winning
Kelsey Grammer
Clios?
from Cheers.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of made that name up. But he did host one year. It's on YouTube.
That's great.
And then about a decade ago, the Clio team started looking at different industries where we could amplify creative work that tied with what Clio has always been about, creativity in marketing, advertising, design. So we now have 6 programs in addition to the main Clio program that still exists. We have Clio Entertainment for TV and film. We have Clio Sports. We have Clio Health. We have Clio Music, which I mentioned earlier that I spearhead, and then Clio Cannabis is our most recent program, launched in 2019. And the through line is amplifying great creative work. So every program's a little different. In music, we recognize things like music videos and music in commercials. And in Cannabis, it's amazing packaging, it's storytelling, so many great videos that are telling stories about the farm or the farmer or the team, and that stuff gets submitted. And we have a jury. You mentioned you've worked with juries in the past, so we have juries every year we put together. We had 45 jurors this year on 3 juries with Clio Cannabis. And it's people like Abby that have done amazing work. And they come in and we go through a variety of processes. It's all very democratic. They vote and things move through the rounds, and then we ultimately end up with the winners like we presented last night. We had 108 trophies presented by the team, the jury this year. Last night we presented the top winners. We had 4 Grand Clio winners, which are kind of the best in show.
Right.
And so we showed them in the space, as Abby.
Couple quick questions. Are there jury instructions?
There are jury instructions. You want me to give you the jury instructions?
You call them jury instructions?
I have a script that I have to follow.
Yeah, they're like, that's a legal terminology, because after you rest your case, you give the jury instructions, and there's a parameters in which they can do things. Sorry.
There
Procedure.
we go.
So, yeah.
Well, and I think similarly, we want to have a very fair show. I think there's sometimes a perception that award shows are pay for play. You can pay to win. You can't do that in the Clios. The Clios are based solely on evaluating work for its creativity. So it's not the results, it's not the ROI. It's like, is this a great idea? Is this something that gives me goosebumps? Literally, I say to the jury, you're evaluating this based on creativity, and you should ask yourself questions like, is this bold? Is this creative? Is this innovative? Is this something I wish my team did? Is this something that we want to amplify to move the industry forward? So we have them think about that when they look.
Is it idea or execution or a combination of both?
Well, that's a great question, and it really is up to the jurors to find that lane. It's about the creative idea, but no doubt, great execution makes ideas powerful.
I'm pre-submitting. Do you guys do something for Best Podcast?
You could submit content. We have a variety of places. I'd have to think about what it would.
We're
We're
making our way
Midwest.
up there.
We don't have a podcast category per se.
Well, you do now. And we are pre-submitting for best podcast. We're evolving it now. We're just launching the concept here at MJ Unpacked, and so we're doing Meat Unshackled, which is introducing individuals like yourself. But our other podcast is called the Cannabis Tales. Understanding, learning about, and introducing the great brands of the American and global cannabis industry, knowing their stories.
I cannot wait for that.
Okay, the Cannabis Tales. Idea-wise, that wins a trophy.
Yeah, well, and it is about the creative idea, and I think
I'm
what you
taking
would
this
want to
home.
do, I'll give you a little tip. What you want to do is you really want to think about, what part of that just you can't stop talking about. If there's an aspect of what you're doing with the podcast that you think is the coolest thing, you want to make sure that's what you convey in the entry. You put that in the synopsis. I mean, Abby has entered things, and she knows how to do this. You think about the most creative stuff that you're doing with the podcast, and you make sure you clarify that when you enter the work.
I think the best thing is that Jeffrey Chaucer can't sue us.
There we go.
What's he going to do, I don't think he has anything trademarked at this point.
Yeah, I have a question. So how was the Cannabis Clio initiated?
Well, we launched in
that's a good
2019, and at the time, we were starting to see some, I think, really innovative work. I mean, Abby was there, I'm sure, doing some of that work. We thought it was time to launch something, as things were happening in all the states. We had a relationship with some folks at High Times. We launched with them as our media partner that first year. I think that just seeing the things that people are so passionate and committed to this plant, and the marketers are thinking of how to be creative in a way that is so unique because you're encumbered by all these regulations and rules and things that you don't have to face in other industries. So I think the timing was right, and the work that was being done and still is being done is so powerful and important because you almost have to be more creative to be working in this space as a marketer.
Yeah,
It really is.
Yeah,
Figure it out as you go, honestly.
That's right.
There's so much creativity in this space. I keep thinking about what Clio award we could give Yoda here because he's really interested. He's looking for
I guess he has the most force.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good one.
Oh, that's good. Is there a Clio award for most force?
Well, I mean, I think most of the creative ideals are very forceful, no doubt.
Clio award, you say?
I think we all know, though, the great thing, creative ideas can change people's minds.
Right.
You're seeing things differently, and so it's very Yoda-esque. It really is.
I always, that old
the Yoda
saying,
award.
if you don't believe in something, you will fall for anything.
Yeah.
Well, I realized something around age 40-something, that what I need to believe in, I haven't invented yet. So I don't need to worry about believing in anything else that anybody else has any ideas, any systems, any philosophies, any religion, any human thought that has been manifested to this point. Because the greatest thoughts are yet to be manifested, and then once I do that myself, then I will have something to believe in. So no disrespect for my ancestors, but I think we can always do better.
I really love
So
that.
take that, whoever said that thing.
I always say
Yes.
what's meant to be will come
Sorry,
to
I've
me.
never said that
Right.
publicly.
There you go.
I love that. Well, I always say what's meant to be will come to me, and it's that mindset that you're talking about. Like the greatest, most creative, inspirations that you receive is based on your environment and what you're,
No, you guys. I mean, I'm not a
Experiencing.
spiritual guy, but we're filled with creative thought over here. Tell us more about your best project, your favorite project. What wakes you up in the morning and say, I'm in the cannabis industry, I'm going to do this?
Well, honestly, now it's my Astrologer. It's something that I've been working on for years.
We're going deep here because I like this.
Yeah, again, I started, my interest started when I was 13 years old, and I picked up on astrology and just reading my horoscopes in the newspaper every day, and going down to the local 7-Eleven, getting those little scrolls that you get at checkout or whatever. That's how I started. And, just as I went on learning more about myself and my own horoscope, zodiac characteristics, natal chart, that kind of thing, but then I started noticing patterns and characteristics that were relevant in my family members and how they would talk about Pisces this or Gemini that. And I was like, oh, my mom acts like that, or oh, my dad and my brother, they act like that. And it just started making sense to me because years later, fast forward to 37 and a half years old, and I was having a real hard time focusing. And, I'd been working in the cannabis industry for a long time. I'd been using cannabis for a really long time. But I decided it was time for me to go to the doctor and just see if there's something there. And so I went and I visited the neurologist, was able to get appointments there. Turns out I'm high-functioning autistic with ADHD. And I've gone 37 and a half years of my life like this.
That's interesting.
And everybody always said, she's quirky and there's something about her. And now I know what that something was. Then I realized, though, this entire time that I'd been medicating with cannabis was because I was medicating for something that I actually needed it for, and it wasn't just to relax or to chill out or for recreation. It was because my body actually needed it. But in that entire time, I was also medicating and using, cannabis in plant medicine as a tool for higher spiritual enlightenment. And it just, it made everything kind of click for me and started putting like the pieces of the puzzle together. So that's what got me into it. Right before I started working with Champs, actually, this was coming right out of COVID. I had noticed during COVID that there was a lot of people in the cannabis space that was, losing hope and losing faith and just losing a lot of the initial steam and gusto and the creativity that, we've been thriving on for so long.
Well, they were inadvertently, unintentionally depriving us of community, which is an essential public health element of the human experience.
1,000%.
Fauci, if you're listening.
But what that forced us to do was to go deep within. And I don't know if you guys are very, if you know the term shadow work. But what it forced all of us to do was to go deep within and start facing our shadow side. Right. And it's really important in human development and knowing what your shadow work is, and because once you've gotten through it, that helps you ascend, and it opens up all kinds of opportunities, just based on experience and all of that. So that's what it forced a lot of us to do. And I immediately saw that there was a need for me to start reaching out and, offering my services to people that were willing to listen, right? And it's just kind of naturally kind of gravitated that way. But I found it was all the people in the cannabis industry. And what I also found is there's been tons of people that have been medicating for themselves for the same reasons, just like me, and we just didn't know. It actually then, once I found out I was, autistic and that I have ADHD, I started reaching out to not local, but nonprofits, and there's one in particular called Culture City, and their whole initiative is to bring adults and children who have sensory needs, things like autism, ADHD, and trauma and whatnot, just sensory needs. They try to get more people out into spaces like this, into convention spaces, and it's really hard with people with sensory needs because they don't always feel comfortable or feel like they're included because of, whatever it is. And I want to, help bring awareness to all adults, who have sensory needs and whatnot. And because I feel like, the cannabis community, they say 1 in 6 adults have sensory needs. I feel like there's one in, or maybe 2 or 3 in 6 adults on our floor here that probably have it because we've just been medicating our entire lives.
I'm actually one of them.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's 2 and 5 right here.
Right. I think we'd all raise our hands. It's 5 for 5 here, right?
Yeah. And that's
4 out of 5.
I'm still trying to figure out what's wrong with me.
Well, and I didn't find out until I was 37. So, and that's what I'm saying. Once I realized it, I realized I'm like, gosh, we're all self-medicating for bigger things.
Yeah, alcohol is a big self-medicator.
It really is.
And it can be a toxin too. But it's all dependent on how you use it, right?
Yeah, it is a toxin. Alcohol is a toxin.
Everything in moderation. That's
moderation, balance.
Yeah,
it's all about
that's what
balance.
Doctors always say. Everything in moderation.
But anyway,
that's cool. So how business-wise, how do people get in touch with you? What are your?
So my cannabis consultation. Instagram is Cannabis Right, WRIGHT. You can also find me on Instagram as the Astrologer. The Astrologer, Astrologer.
You have the domain and everything?
I've got it all.
You should also trademark the Shroom Astrologer too. Psilocybin, going to be gigantic.
You are the third person.
Gigantic.
During the show, you were the third person that has told me that.
Break on through.
There's your message.
Go
we might add that category.
Clio, Clio. So let me finish up here. So we got people get in touch with you. We got that?
Find me on IG. That's the easiest way right now.
Okay.
Or Facebook. Abby Wright.
YouTube.
And please YouTube. Go like, share, subscribe. The Can Astrologer on YouTube.
Yeah, I have a parting gift for you. So hang on. We're gonna talk about that in a second. But I want to talk more about the Clio and mushrooms. What's gonna happen there? Psilocybin.
Well, I think for us, it's starting to see if there's creative work happening. You know, we're not about the strain. We're not about the mushroom itself. We're about like people doing creative things with it. And I think you'll start to see
like
interesting.
The Smurfs.
It could
The
be.
Smurfs.
So, you know,
Love
we're always
the
considering how to enhance the program and grow it every year.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if that's something that happens this next year or beyond. But you can find us, ClioCannabisAwards.com. If you want to go and check out what's happening in the cannabis space, you can look at the winners from this year on that site. You can see who did the work. Reach out to them, tell them that something inspired you. Or you can, of course, go to the main Clio site, which is clios.com. You can see all the different programs, as I said, from entertainment to sports to music to cannabis.
How many times do you guys do the Clio Awards? That was a pretty big turnout last night. I was like, what the heck is all going on here?
Who were the 4 winners, if you don't mind?
Well,
me?
first, how many times a year?
Well, each program has one award show a year, so it's an annual program. So all 6 of the programs have annual shows.
So there's one annual Clio. So
Yeah.
next year will be with where was it last year?
Well, last year was virtual. The last 2 years were virtual.
Oh.
So you could see them online, and that's how we handled it. But every program is annual. So we'll do another Clio Cannabis Award show next fall, or around this time probably again.
Right. And
Hopefully
just
here.
tie it or to a big conference that
That's
has
right.
a lot of thought leaders.
I love what MJ Unpacked is about, and hopefully George, we'll talk about doing something again next year.
We are all about the brands as they really enhance and protect and are concerned about the patients and the consumer's interest. You know, the innovation, the competition, the lower prices, and the reputation that they hold is important to them, much more so than the other members of the supply chain that are a little bit more separated from the consumer experience. So we're really excited about supporting MG Unpacked because it supports the brands.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we hopefully we will look forward to seeing you here. You had a question. I interrupted you.
The winners for, I heard
Yes.
Burner was
Well,
was
we
one
honored,
of them?
in addition to the awards that the jury decides, we every year also give specialty awards, and we honor people that are doing something special creatively to impact the culture. So Burner was our honorary Clio recipient last night. He gave a beautiful speech, talked about what he's had to overcome and how things, even like the Clio, help normalize what we're all doing in this business. We gave an award last night to Headcount's Cannabis Voter Project that's educating people on where candidates stand on the cannabis issues, which I think is important leading up to election. And then the 4 grants last night, Weed Maps picked up a grant. You can go on ClioCannabisAwards.com and see the winning work. They picked up an award for social media. Service Plan Germany picked up an award for something that they did called Freedom Grams, that was packaging designed to help educate people about folks that are in prison that should not be in prison. I'm drawing a blank on, and there's 2 other amazing
No, it's
pieces.
amazing that you remember all that.
That's awesome.
Do you remember that?
I just remember last night, some of the most incredible points, Burner receiving his award was just amazing because coming from the marketing side of cannabis, I've been telling everybody, Burner always got a really bad rap for, just being able to come in and kind of dominate the culture, but what he really did good and what he really needs to be recognized for, which he was last night, was how it all started just based on marketing alone.
Yeah.
And I've always admired him for that. The other thing that I really loved was the fact that these awards were being recognized for people, companies across the world, not just, the United States. It was all different countries, and these teams sending in their acceptance videos, and just what it was doing was, connecting the dots from different parts of the world and really feeling like you're part of this ecosystem, It was really neat.
I'm sorry I missed Burner, but let me tell you my experience with Clear Awards. I walked in. This is a cool event. This is well done. I grabbed some food. I walk inside. It's so packed I can't stand anywhere, it was fantastic. And you guys started to do the awards and stuff. And I was so tired because we do this all day. And so I was getting really, really weak. And some guy was standing next to me, and he was standing in front of the teleprompter. So one of the hosts couldn't read the teleprompter to the left. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
But I couldn't. I was so tired. I had to leave.
I understand.
But you guys, it was a well-produced event. It was awesome. looking, and then I just kind of went to sleep. So I missed.
I'll quickly
Burner.
tell you about the last 2 winners that we had last night. We had a piece that won out of Missouri for partnerships and collaborations called a brand called Show Me Organics that made sort of the ultimate local infused products. They had this potato chip that's incredibly popular in St. Louis. That they infused, and they did a limited edition. They've created all these localized edibles using things like the pawpaw fruit, which is a fruit that people in Missouri love.
I was yesterday years old when I learned that the pawpaw fruit is the official fruit of Missouri.
I didn't know that either.
I had no idea.
And then the last piece that won that was remarkable, it was done by an agency in Germany, Young von Matt, and it was a piece called the BVG Hemp Ticket. Basically, they made edible hemp tickets in Berlin to get people to eat them that had cannabinoids like CBD to help calm people,
right?
And also to create an awareness that this is a plant that can be helpful and good for you. It was just an amazing piece. If you go to the site, you can see the work. They actually were also our Agency of the Year, and we gave away an award for Brand of the Year to Can, who won,
incredible.
I think, 11 different Clios for all the different work that Can has done with their beverage.
I think I need to spend some time on both you guys' websites.
Please.
Yeah, it's all about inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's actually really good. So
have
we
a
want,
gift here
so
for
we want to give you guys a parting gift. You know what? You guys earned these.
Aw.
Okay, you guys are very interesting members of the
silver.
cannabis industry.
Thank you.
These are from High Point Jewelry. They're silver, so don't just go give them away anywhere.
I love it.
It's
I
from.
love this.
It has a story behind it. They are called Freedom Dog Tags, and the reason they're called Freedom Dog Tags is Glenn Murray designed them, and he was in the cannabis industry for like 10 years. He died last fall, and he's married to Pam Donner, who's a big OG from the Arizona cannabis industry. And so Glenn and I, we just bonded over our love for freedom, and we always talk about liberty and what it means and choice. And with the reflection and time, we both agreed that the underlying spirit underneath even the foundation of the cannabis industry is the fight for freedom and choice that all human beings go through. As soon as we leave the trees and the monkeys start in the community, if you believe that path, you can go the Garden of Eden path too. But community versus the individual is everything. And wrestling with those, how do we retain our freedoms, retain our choice, is at the core of all the human experience. So another reason why they talk about free will and God so closely being together. That's what the cannabis industry is about. That's what we're all involved in some capacity. We're all riding that wave. So those are the Freedom Dog Tags that Mita gives away. Wear them proudly, wear them with honor, and never forget Glenn Murray.
Thank you,
and
guys.
we appreciate you guys being here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
This has been an honor.
Honored to be with Abby, so thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Likewise,
Thank you all.
with
Thank you.
Michael. Thank you.
And I'll have a
Thank
Clio
you,
next year.
You will hopefully be on stage next year.
All right.
Did we already say how people can contact you?
Yes.
Well, you can go to the, as I said, Clios.com or ClioCannabisAwards.com. I go by Michael Joel. It's my middle name on social, but I post a lot of pictures of my dog, so I'll just tell you that in a bit. But it is the most beautiful dog in the world. She's this crazy mix of husky and boxer.
That's
So.
adorable.
And it wouldn't be fair if I also didn't shout out BuzzFeed again, once again.
Yes.
They're a media platform that right now, for anybody in the cannabis space, your products, you can just fill out a little profile and you get free publicity, and a lot of traffic hits that site. It's just a great platform to announce your up and coming products to the cannabis industry.
Justin is doing great work, and he won a Clio for BuzzFeed last year.
Yep, last year, and
Clio
the
award
Get Chill
winner.
Bonks. Yep, amazing.
No Clio for me, you're saying.
Give it time.
All right, every time. Nice talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thanks a
joining
lot.
us.
Appreciate
Thank you.
That was another episode of Mita Unshackled.